what do I think of personal trainers who compete in bodybuilding, not personal trainers who practice bodybuilding? I feel all body composition focused personal trainers would benefit massively from focused periods of practicing some form of the science and art of bodybuilding on themselves. I really do think that. But what do I think about competitive bodybuilding? I'm not talking about anything to do with drugs or anything like that. That's a different subject matter. I'm talking about people who diet incredibly hard. They dig depths that they didn't even know that they had in many cases. And they push themselves to their absolute limit so that they are, what are you doing? You're just stopping in the middle of the road. Absolute half-wit. People who push themselves beyond anything that really we can imagine, because the selfishness of bodybuilding competition is kind of, because it's so all in, you have to focus on yourself, and you have to focus on yourself. It's not like preparing for many other sporting events. You have to focus on everything 24/7. 24/7. It's so demanding. It's solitary. It's insular. And for most, and most meaning 97.5%, right the way through to 99.5% of people, that last 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks before a competition, your energy goes. You're flat. Apart from when you're training yourself, you're flat. There's nothing from here to give to anybody else. And that, of course, is a real problem. Pretty much for whatever job you've got. But if you've got a job where you can just go through the motions, you can get away with it. But if you're a personal trainer, every single time you step on the gym floor with a client, you're putting on a performance. It doesn't have to be a highfalutin cheerleading performance, but you've got to be focused. You've got to be watching everything that the client does. You cannot be away with the fairies. And very rarely is the person preparing for a physique contest who can keep that up whilst in the hard depths of competition preparation. Very rarely indeed. And because of that, I'm not a fan of trainers who compete. Now, some of you might get all precious about this. This is just my opinion. You can disagree with me. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing with me. You may think that you compete and your performance doesn't drop, and it is possible that you're right. But again, in my experience, having seen probably hundreds, close to hundreds of people do this, you have to be a massive outlier for it not to drop your performance. Typically, it does drop your performance. Typically, in the vast majority of cases, it drops performance. So the only real solution is to cut back on your hours and take some kind of sabbatical if you want to maintain professional integrity. Unless, I'm qualifying this, unless, you're one of the outliers. But outliers are outliers for a reason. There's not a lot of you out there. So this is something for, this is my view on how my view on competitive bodybuilding means to personal training. But I'll finish on an upbeat note. Absolutely, without any shadow of doubt. Again, in my now quite significant experience, the best body composition focused personal trainers have spent a good deal of time pursuing some kind of body composition, bodybuilding focused goal. Doesn't mean competing, not at all, but it means pursuing that goal. At the end of the day, let's just use training as an example. There's no substitute for that eye that you get over time in terms of seeing how somebody moves, seeing how you can push them, and getting the most out of them. This is not something that the spreadsheet trainers understand. It's not something that the online trainers get in any way at all. And it's really important if you're looking for a good one-to-one trainer. Really important.